on, people. So this was a press release that somehow I missed about the civil suit on Alec Baldwin, okay, from the Rust movie. So here's the attorney. Here's what he says. And then they made a video. Now, you got to realize when an attorney firm puts in a lot of money to make a video, they're pushing an agenda. They're stating their case. They're letting other people know. They're letting the other attorneys know, look, just from this video, you're going to freaking lose. So you better settle. So that's why they did this video. But again, in a video, because the attorney did it, doesn't mean it's fact or that everything in there he can prove. So there's a couple questions I had in the video. We'll watch the video after a couple minutes of him talking.
Others who are responsible for the safety on the set and whose reckless behavior and cost cutting.
He uses reckless a lot. He doesn't use negligence a lot.
Led to the senseless and tragic death of Helena Hutchins.
It looks like he's got a freaking sock in his pocket. Is that the new fad that I don't know about? Did he freaking bring an extra sock in case he lost a sock during the interview? What the hell is that in his pocket? I digress. Go ahead.
Prior to filing this lawsuit, we undertook an investigation. We interviewed witnesses that were at the scene. We interviewed witnesses who the days before could set the stage of what happened.
So when he's saying he's interviewing witnesses, I don't know if that means we took a deposition, because an interview versus a deposition is different. I can interview you and you can tell me things, but you're not under oath. I don't have it videotaped and I don't have evidence of what you said. A deposition is usually videotaped and audio recorded, so now we know what you said, your facial expressions, we have better context. If he's going to do a civil suit, he's going to depose all his witnesses to get them on the record under oath making statements so he knows what they're going to testify to. So again, I don't know which one he's talking about here.
We went to the scene. We assessed the scene with experts. We hired...
With experts. That's his experts. I'm not saying they're not credible, but each side has experts. And a lot of times you have good experts who are ethical and who tell the truth. And then you have experts who work for somebody. Kind of like the lieutenant with Jeff Reisig. He puts people up who are crooked, cops who will lie for him. He gets them on a stand to tell their lies, and they're his expert. When I went against the DA, when they asked me to be an expert, and I reviewed it and said, man, this is fucked up, that's wrong, they go, we don't want to use you as our expert. So remember, experts are chosen sometimes because of what they said.
Top experts, and we really dug into what we could. We were able to obtain documents from other lawsuits and conducted our investigation.
Documents from other lawsuits and documents from the film administration, hopefully backing up what they're saying is standard procedure.
And now we believe, as stated in the complaint, the allegations of the numerous violations of industry standards.
Okay, this term, industry standards, that's called prior practice and procedure. Departments and government has policies. So they say we have something established, so if you don't do it the way that we tell you, we can hold you accountable, even though they don't. Laws are policies. Now, you shouldn't murder. Murder's against the law. It's a policy. And if you don't do it, there's a consequence. Now, laws and policies obviously enforce different. Policies can usually get you administrative. You usually don't go to prison for policy. Laws, you go to prison. But he's saying for the practices in the industry standards, that means he's got to prove that it's an industry standard. If he brings one film guy in and says, this is industry standard, and the defense or the other party brings in 3 experts that says that's not true, it varies from film to film, it varies from director to director, it varies from movie production, whether it's MGM or Warner Brothers, they have different industry standards. There's no complete industry standard. One of them's got to prove one of those is true.
That occurred by Mr. Baldwin and others that were charged with safety on the set.
So he says that Mr. Baldwin was in charge of safety. How was he in charge? He's got to prove that. He's got to convince the jury. He was in charge because he did the hiring and firing. He did the budget. He approved hiring and firing. He approved the people that hired and fired. He had final say. He could fire anybody. So he's got to prove that.
So what we did with all this work is we put together a video. And the video assesses the facts.
This
that
is
the
an animation
investigation
video.
is under.
He's saying words like fact. Well, just because he says it's a fact really doesn't make it a fact. But
Taken has learned, and it was assessed by experts and other people that were there to what really happened. And you,
by experts and other people that were there. That's pretty critical. If he's got people that were there that backs him up, man, his case got a lot. Remember, in civil court, I don't need to convince a jury beyond a reasonable doubt and above moral certainty. I only have to tip the scales in my favor. I only have to show that 51% I'm right and the other guy's wrong. That's all I got to do in civil. So it's a much lower standard.
you can see the recreation in the video based on the witnesses' statements, the scene, the evidence, and the emails and such they were able to obtain.
So he's saying he's got emails. I think he shows some texts. The video's pretty good. Let's go ahead and get to the video because they show the video here and it's absolutely like junk. Who just texted me? Oh. Pat's doing something about a truck. Anyway, am I still running? Okay.
And I think the video explains why Mr. Baldwin and others were responsible and are responsible.
I don't think he has much of any juror is going to say somebody was responsible and this person's death deserves compensation. So the civil case, they're going to win. The only thing now is how much can we prove gross negligence and just gross oversight and basically almost intentional that a reasonable person, if you put in this circumstance, would absolutely see that it's dangerous and should have stopped it and didn't. So that's basically what we are. Nobody's going to argue that her death was justified and nobody was at fault. We know somebody's at fault. Who's at fault and how much are they at fault? How much is it Armour? How much is it Alec Baldwin? How much is it the industry lack of standard? How much is it they avoided? How much is it because of budget? How much is the witnesses? How much and who's at fault is the issue for the civil trial.
For safety on the job site and why their reckless conduct and cost-cutting measures led
Reckless. Again, reckless.
to the death of.
Now this woman right here does this thing, and when she first did that, I think I was glancing down at the bottom at this film, and I was kind of like, what the hell is she smiling about in the middle of there? Then when I rewatched it, somebody walked in that she knows, and that was her way of acknowledging them, just saying hi. I don't think she's laughing about this. She probably shouldn't have done it. When they view this back, she probably got some shit for not keeping it serious, but I didn't take this as she was being disrespectful and rude. A lot of people will. They'll make it into something. I think she just recognized somebody walking in
Why their
and she
reckless
acknowledges
conduct and
Watch this.
cost-cutting measures
She sees them.
led to
How
the
are
death
you?
of Elena Hutchins.
And then
So
goes
we're
back
gonna
to
show
her
that
straight
video.
face. So was that, can somebody take this clip out and go, you find this funny? You're talking about this poor woman's death, and you're talking about how bad it is, and you're sitting there laughing and smiling during the interview? That's the way one side's going to make it. I don't see it that way, but whatever.
And let you watch it, and when it's over, we'll answer some questions.
Now, I didn't hang around for the questions, but let's go watch the video that I got. That this
So
news
with that-
here, they show the video here. There's lights, there's cameras in the way. I really couldn't tell it, so I found a video, and let's watch it without all the BS. Okay, so they give their disclaimer. Complaint made by the Hutchins family. This is the dad. Then for the kids, they're suing. Killing of Helena. They didn't say murder. They didn't say reckless homicide. They just said the killing because she's dead. Okay. Little dramatic showing in here. Okay, this sets the stage. Now, when I first saw this, I'm like, who is this woman that's handing them the gun? This is where the video, these are things that I kind of look for that I'm just, when I watch movies, it's hard to ignore. I'm like, who is this woman handing him the gun? How do we know it's a woman? Who is this woman supposed to be? Got a gray sweatshirt, green, and blue jeans. So I'm wondering where this woman went, which whoever did this production obviously didn't look at this. But why does this woman have breasts when it's actually a guy? Because he says the assistant director handed him the gun, who is a guy. And then in their video, they make the person handing the gun a female. What? I mean, I'm not trying to be funny here. Somebody say, Rick, maybe he's gay, maybe he identifies as well. I don't know. But it just gives the video a little credibility. Remember, they're making a video that helps their case. So it shows the gun being handled in a reckless manner, carried to him. Shows him taking a gun and what's called flagging, to where he kind of, I don't know if I can do backspace on this or not. So when he takes the gun, he flags her, showing very unsafe handling. This wasn't structured. Is this true? How do we know this? Is there actual video footage of this, or do people just say this? Again, they made the video to help their case. So you need to take it with a grain of salt. Takes the gun and flags him, puts it in his thing, in his holster, and this guy walks off. Now remember, I don't know if this is a guy or girl. Because I saw the breast, I thought it was a girl. I know it's probably sexist and I shouldn't do that, but I just did. So now in their video that they're making, they want to show what Alec sees. Where's the person that handed him the video? Because the person that handed him video had blue jeans on. This one has a gray sweater, but she's got green pants on. She's got blue jeans on and a sweater, but I don't see gray. And they all have hats on. Where's the dude or girl or guy or it, whatever the pronoun is, that handed him the gun? Where's that person? So whoever made this video, they didn't have somebody review it with a critical eye, because that leads me, it messes up what they're trying to prove. So it shows him drawing and pulling and shooting quick. I want to go over this really quick here to see if I don't know if I can slow this down. Can I slow this down? No, I can't. All right, here we go. So he really draws it quick and fires. They're all looking at the camera like it was in the scene. This has always been a big question for me, because there was rumors at first that he was playing around, and when he shot her, he said, yeah, I'm tired of your smack, and he fake shot her, and it actually went off. Then there was calls that he shouldn't even pull the trigger. Nobody told him. In one of his interviews, he said he was told to pull the hammer back, and it went forward accidentally, but his finger was on the trigger, and these guns, if you're putting pressure on the trigger, the hammer will automatically fly forward, so it indicates that he probably had his finger, which indicates he either knew or he didn't know, and why didn't he have training, and why shouldn't he have known? All those are issues, but we don't know a lot of those answers because the interviews were absolutely shit done by the police. So here's a gray sweater dude, but he's got green pants on. Is this the person that handed the gun? Again, the players are mixed up. I don't know. These three guys are here. Where's the other guy that got shot? When they show 4 people, it shows the guy that took the secondary round standing right behind him. What happened to him here? I don't know who was reviewing this video, but it's very distracting for me to say, what happened? Who's this? And where did this brown pants? And she's the only one with blue jeans? Somebody with blue jeans handed him the gun. Where did that person go that handed him the gun? Didn't have a hat on. This person doesn't have a hat on now, but he's got green pants on. Is this the same guy? Is this a different guy? I don't know. I think they show a different angle. October 21st, 2021. I don't know who DK Global is. Is that the person that made the video, or is that the law firm? I don't know. Panache, are these the attorneys? I don't know.
The morning that Helena Hutchins was shot and killed, tensions among the crew and cast regarding safety on the Rust set had boiled over.
So this is the morning that she was shot. He's saying on the crew it had boiled over. what I heard originally is the crew walked off the night before and quit. So the crew that was here, where did they come from? Who hired them? How did you find them? How did you get them so quick? Were you at a minimum staffing? Did you hire the same amount of people that left? How many people left? How many people were here? How many were supposed to be here? We don't know any of that because the interview sucked because we had 2 dumbass female quota hires that shouldn't even be cops, but they're freaking detectives on a homicide investigation. So now we're saying in their video, they're making this look like text. I don't know if they're voicemail or text, but because they're quoting them, so to speak, it makes me believe that these are actual. Now, if they gave bullshit and they made this up and then they show it to the jury, the other side is going to go, when you did this video and tried to mislead and affect the jury, you put fake information here, didn't you? So to me, if you're going to put this like it's an actual text, that says you know what the text is, you have a copy of it or a printout. So these have a little bit more credibility to me. Whether or not they do or not, I don't know, because I can't ask questions. How do you know that? Let me see the source document. Let me verify this. I don't know. We have now had 3 accidental discharges. This is super unsafe. That's a big issue. I don't know who this L. Looper is. I don't know who K. Walter is. Are these the people that left? Who are they telling this to? Are they telling it to the boss, the person in charge? Should they have told this to Alex, who was a director, the assistant director? Did they tell those people that, or did they just send a message to this person about this? If you send, as a supervisor, if one of my troops came to me and complained about another one of my troops, my first question, did you address it? And what was the response? If they say, I didn't address it, why not? If you're telling me it's wrong and you want me to do something, why didn't you address it when it happened, stop it, and get an explanation so I have more information? Because now that time has passed, when I go back and bring it up, facts are going to be obscured. If her or his definition is different than yours, now I don't know because you didn't address it at the time. So those would be my questions on this. Accidental discharge of firearms. Awesome. Sounds good. What? Who is this guy? And why is he excited about discharge of firearms? Is this the union guy who's trying to get a better thing? Is this the union guy trying to get more money? Is this the union guy that they're complaining about they don't have staying overnight and they're working too long and that's why? Is this guy, is this a isolated cutout of a long conversation because we don't know what context it is? He's making it sound like this is a text where somebody's concerned. Again, it draws away credibility for me on this video that was made by one side because I can't cross-examine. That's why they don't like hearsay in court, because I can't cross-examine hearsay. Someone told me this. I can question you. You can say they told you. You can say what they told you. But I can't question a person that told you and get them. And that's why usually hearsay isn't allowed in court. Accidental discharge. Awesome. Sounds good. Yeah. 2 discharges. Who are the players? What's the story? What's the context? All questions that need to be figured out. If I'm doing a criminal investigation, this is great. Because I'm going to go to him now and say, hey, I'm doing a criminal investigation. You made a video. This doesn't fall under attorney-client privilege. How did you get it? What's your source? I need the document. I need a copy of the statement that talked to you because I'm running a criminal investigation that trumps your civil investigation. So when they release all this, this gives me a whole new wealth of leads that I get to go to now. Who's this person? I want the complete emails. I want to get them. I want to interview them. Lots of info in this video.
The crew had warned the production that the set was super unsafe.
Okay.
And that safety was a massive issue.
If this is true, this helps a civil case. Who did they notify, though? If Alex says nobody told me, this is he emailed a union rep. I didn't have any idea of this. They're going to have proof who they told, when they told, what they did, what they said. Did they make a memo? Is there any evidence to say that? Because me just saying, yeah, man, I told them all, it's bullshit. Well, you told them all, but you emailed him and put it in writing. There's an old saying in the military and police work, if it ain't documented, it didn't happen. If you can't that's why I always tell new cops, and I always told my cops, and I always did memos to myself, or I would email my supervisor, or I would email another cop. Yo, man, can you believe this just happened? And the boss said this. That was a record that was now documented, and maybe the supervisor didn't even know I was telling my coworker. But when I told my coworker, instead of just verbally telling him, I'd send him an email, because now it's documented. Now I have proof on what I said, and I have backup, and I have another person that I told. Now, did they do that? I don't know. So I paused this, the whole email, and we're losing the email address. We got the name, Lane Looper. This is the person that initially said. And we don't know everybody that it was sent to. So these blacked out names, why isn't the director on here would be my question. Why wasn't this sent to the director, the person in charge of the set, the assistant director, the person that made why didn't anybody address this with the armorer? Why did you do that? Why did you allow that? Why wasn't all that done if it was such an issue? Why was a secret letter done by this person to this person? If you're going to read the whole letter, they get into down here, COVID is a concern. Lacks of COVID passes, people not wearing their mask. If you read this before this comes in, let's see. The second issue is in regards to safety, has to do with weapons during the film. This is a critical, good spot, but it's not the first thing that was brought up. If safety was and as a jury, or if I'm defending this person, or I'm trying to limit my exposure in trial, I'm going to tell the jury, safety wasn't the first issue. The first issue was COVID. This is a disgruntled employee. This employee wanted to argue or complain about COVID, and he just threw in the second issue is this. Then he threw in a personal issue at the bottom that went in about, I have to drive 13 hours a day and I'm not being paid to take a shower, and my days are too long and I'm not getting paid. So this letter had a lot of other issues besides safety being the only issue. Look, when you address one issue, you usually bring up a lot. I get it, but that you need to be ready to face that, whoever wrote this letter, that's what they're going to be doing. Okay. So he kind of highlights a lot of stuff here. If you just want to read that, second issue I want to bring up. During the filming, gunfights on the jobs, things are often played very fast and loose. That's not good. That's a safety issue. When you're dealing with firearms, it should be slow and methodical, not fast and loose. So far, there have been 2 accidental weapon discharges. That's pretty serious. Even one would be a major issue to anybody in charge. I need to address this. We cannot have this happen again. I want to know how it happened, why it happened. Everybody needs to be briefed, and we need to bump up our safety protocols and procedures, because I don't want this happening again. Was that done? If it wasn't done, that shows negligence. That showed recklessness. That shows I didn't care. Okay? Not once, but twice. And we had an accidental SFX explosive. I don't know what SFX is. I'm assuming it's some sort of explosive charge. Either when a gunshot hits a bench and it blows out wood, or if it hits a window and it breaks a window, and you have to simulate that the bullet is going through, so you have these little explosives set up. I don't know. But now we've had 2 accidental discharges and accidental explosives. Now the issue is, from the civil side, how was this addressed? From the criminal side, if I'm doing a criminal investigation, I want to know how it was addressed, because I may be charging you with negligent homicide or some other homicide, because this is so negligent and so grossly ineffective to protect the safety of these people. This is a direct result on why somebody died, and somebody needs to be held responsible. So we have 2 different things that this video is showing. We have the criminal side of the investigation, and we have the civil side. Let's see, what else do they say? Explosives have gone off around the crew between takes. So that means it wasn't even done during the actual takes. They were fucking around or doing something between. Or they were rehearsing for the takes. They identified the problem, and that's why it didn't happen during the takes. But we can't say that now, because now somebody got killed doing an actual take. So, just huge issues here. Civil, this is a slam dunk, easy win. It's all up to how much they're going to get paid, and who's going to get paid what, and who's responsible and who's going to have to pay. The movie company's going to have to pay the set designer, the director, the assistant director, Alec Baldwin, all of them. But remember, people in these jobs, and I was always told I should have an umbrella policy when I was working as a cop. If you get insurance, and I have, let's say I go get an umbrella policy, $1 million coverage, no matter what happens, this policy covers me. And I go out there and do something stupid. Somebody dies. Most courts do not go past the umbrella. The theory is if a person is responsible enough to have an umbrella policy, it shows they're being responsible, they're doing their due diligence, they're paying out each month for protection in case they make a mistake. Because they're in an inherently dangerous job and mistakes happen, and in order to protect them, they have paid money for insurance. It would be unfair and unreasonable to penalize the person twice because they're already being penalized because they're buying this extra insurance to cover them. So normally, most courts will only allow with the umbrella policy. If I got $1 million policy, the most they're going to get awarded is $1 million. And even if the jury finds for more, I think the judge can go, I'm only holding him accountable for the umbrella policy. So that's why you have umbrella policies. Who thinks Alec Baldwin has an umbrella policy? Absolutely. It may be 3, it may be 4 million. I don't know. But he's paying for an umbrella policy. That's what's going to pay. They're not going to take his own money. Do you think the film company has an umbrella policy? Absolutely. They know they're doing films. People get hurt. They have an umbrella policy. So nobody is going to be personally held liable to take money. So whatever the limits on all these umbrella policies are is probably what's going to be the settlement. I'm just guessing. All right. I personally suffer from pretty bad tinnitus. So this is a setup for a claim against the film crew. This guy is going to be able to say, I already had bad hearing, my hearing's gotten worse, and now somebody's responsible. So they're going to have to give him some sort of disability payout, pay for his hearing aids, paying for his tinnitus. If his tinnitus costs him a job, they may be able to pay for that. So somehow this guy is setting us up when he goes in. I have pretty bad tinnitus, and the explosives set my ears ringing until I got home. Anytime a person has ringing in their ears, permanent ear damage has occurred. I've had it so many times in the Air Force and in police work, it's crazy. And I have ringing in my ears, and I have bad tinnitus that rings all the freaking time. But and your body kind of adjusts, but it's still a pain in the ass. And my hearing is really degraded because I have sirens going off when I'm chasing people. I'm jumping out on scenes where sirens are going off. I'm standing on a scene where fire department rolls up with their sirens. I'm standing next to aircraft when they take off because it's an emergency. I'm on the flight line when aircraft takes over and I bend over to do something where I'm wrestling with somebody and my earplug comes out. Now I've got this screaming engine. So your ears are just, they're trash when you're working around loud noises. It's going to happen. This guy is saying, hey, I had ringing in my ears till I got home. He is totally set up with that right there, a case for him to do a suit against the director or them for permanent ear damage to his ears. Okay? To be clear, there are no safety meetings these days. Wow, that's a pretty hard statement. Is there a policy that there's a safety meeting? You would think there would be safety meetings. You would think each day they would have a debrief. Hey, what does everybody think? Was there anything that we need to fix for tomorrow? How can we do this better? Was there waste? Was there problems? Let's address it. Okay, let's go. That's what we do in police work, do it in the military. Anytime there's an incident, we do what's called a debriefing. Everybody gets together and we critique ourselves. And we say where we made mistakes, where we did better, what we did good, what we did bad, how do we make it better next time, etc. I'm assuming they do that. I don't know if it's policy. There have been no explanations as to what to expect from these shots. Again, that statement, for the industry inside, they know what that means. But as a jury person or lay person, I don't know what that means. As a criminal investigator, I'm going to know what that means. I'm going to go to this person and go, when you said there's no expectation of expelling these shots, what are you talking about? Show me a policy that says you're supposed to know. Who says you're supposed to know? Well, that's just the way we do it. That's not good enough. You just made a statement that implies there's supposed to be expectation of these shots. Explain that to me. Talk to me like I'm a fifth grader and make me understand it. I want to know what he's talking about, what he backs up, because all that can go to criminal negligence. Okay, and the last thing, when anyone from production is asked, we are usually met with the same answers about not having enough time to complete the day if we rehearse, and that this is a 21-day shoot. This implies that they were in a hurry, they only had 21 days, there were budget restraints, and when you have all those things, safety is normally compromised. Safety is pushed to the rear because safety takes time and money and briefing, and it makes everything go slower and last longer. So when you have a 21-day shoot and you sacrifice safety to do it, guess what happens? Somebody gets shot and somebody dies. And that's not good policy. All right? Let's see where he went here.
Of the safety conditions of the unsafe production. After the warning of the unsafe production, the workers that had complained quit in protest of the safety conditions.
Okay, I'm not sure if that's exactly accurate. I heard they quit because they weren't being paid and there was a union issue, and they were union workers that quit. And I don't know if the union told them to quit or the union said you need to get out. But there are other reasons why they quit. But safety and unsafe could be part of the problem. And if it was, it's relevant. It may not be the whole thing, but it's relevant.
The producers directed the super unsafe production to continue.
Now that's a good statement. If they knew that it was unsafe and people are quitting, which they did know, it's reasonable that they knew, that your staff walked out. Why did they walk out? We don't know. They just quit. They didn't tell us. That's not reasonable. They quit either because of pay or because unsafe. You knew and you didn't change anything. Matter of fact, you went fast and easy and you hired a purple-haired girl that was never a head armor anywhere, and then you gave her double duty and she wasn't even in a room, and she didn't give you the gun, and you didn't clear the gun, and the director didn't clear it before he gave it to you, and there was a whole mess of errors which led to a live bullet getting in there, and even if it wasn't a live bullet, a bullet that shouldn't have been in there on a set where there shouldn't have been bullets, and you fired a gun that shouldn't have been fired, and as a result of all that, somebody's dead.
This is the story of what happened. Mr. Baldwin and the Rust crew and cast committed major breaches of industry safety protocol.
When he says this, I want to know, if I'm the criminal investigator, I'm going to him and I'm saying, when you make this statement, I need to know what the major breaches of the industry safety protocols they violated. Do you have a list? Do you have a document? How are you going to prove that in your civil trial on this? See, a civil attorney in a civil case wants to help the government get a prosecution, because if the government gets a prosecution, the civil case is an automatic win. Even if they don't get a prosecution, the civil case is much better because they were criminally charged. Even if they don't get criminally charged and the criminal case gets all this extra information, the civil guys get to use all their work product and everything they did. So most times a civil is going to be cooperating with the government. All right, dramatic effect. We had too many damn thin people here trying to make this cool. Okay, so here's the...
Mr. Baldwin and his production crew.
Okay, so here he says this is Dave Hall's first assistant director. Is there multiple? Why is he first? Who's second? Who's third? How many assistant directors are there? Alec Baldwin, executive producer, lead actor, and contributing writer. Is the executive producer over the director, or is the director over the producer? I don't know, but I need to know that if I'm doing this investigation. These are questions that I'm asking because I have to become a subject matter expert on this if I'm going to charge somebody with a criminal crime, so I can explain it and write my reports to the jury so they understand. So when you're doing cases like this, you have to get up on terms, what a gipper is or gripe or freaking past design. I got to know all that so I can explain it when I'm explaining to the jury in a way that they can understand it and not confuse them.
We're performing a lineup. A lineup is used to...
Just like this. He used a term lineup, and then he defined what a lineup is. That's what I kept trying to get these idiot freaking investigators to do when they were interviewing. They were letting them use terms and throw out them and we and us, and they never defined what the hell they were talking about. This lawyer used lineup, and then he defined lineup. Perfect.
Confirm where to locate and angle the camera. Industry standards required Mr. Baldwin to use a replica or rubber prop gun whenever possible.
Okay, so just because he says it's industry standards... Oh shit, am I not fucking videotaping? Oh my God. Shit, I didn't see my thing moving, so I didn't know I was videotaping. Sorry. I was like, shit, I got to go back and redo all this shit I said. I'm at 35 minutes. I guess I'll make a part 2 on this, because some people just want to stop watching. They don't care. And so we'll stop this and make a part 2.